Hello, Sparkleteers. I'm sorry I don't have my usual presentation here, but time is of the essence as well as expediency, and there are updates that I need to give you. You will recall that on the 22nd of May, an anonymous welfare check call was made on Asher, and the police reached out to him. This is something that greatly disturbed Asher, as I have already explained that all people in our lives who actually matter and who care about Asher would not call an anonymous call, but would in fact reach out directly to us if they had concerns. I also pointed out that there was a local man, and is a local man, whom we suspect has been impersonating us and has been sending Liana Kersner messages pretending to be us. Now, in the previous episode, I established that Liana Kersner is well aware of this man, as Asher and Liana spoke about him about more than 13 times in the span of their 5-year friendship. So, Liana does not have any plausible deniability to claim that she is not aware of the existence of this man. Clearly disturbed by these events, Asher made a plea on social media asking for the person who had made the call to please step forward. Since if they were truly concerned, he appreciated the concern, but the fact that it was completely anonymous disturbed him for the reasons we have outlined above. Interestingly, Liana Kersner's response was to mock Asher. She had a complete mocking disregard for the fact that Asher was afraid of this individual and had aired his concern many, many times, including back in Blue Sky when he said that he was in danger. Liana Kersner laughed at his fear and called it falling to pieces. Asher, as I have told you, has repeatedly stated how afraid he is of this individual and what he can do. Not so much as him physically, but the things that he can do with false accusations and raising false concerns, and the fact that this man is still, in many ways, ever present in our lives, whether we are aware of it or not. For example, he submits messages to Asher's website using search terms that are highly concerning. Every website keeps track of search terms that are used. That is part and parcel of every website. Liana Kersner has told you that we are phishing. No, that is what every standard website does. And looking at the search terms that were submitted, Asher found some truly, truly disturbing things that came from a local IP address. As we've told you, this man is local. Many of these searches have come from VPNs, but not every hit around this kind of thing was a VPN. Asher downloaded the server logs and then ran them through a traffic behavior inference algorithm, and it showed that many, if not all, of these searches were a profile that included local IP addresses, so we had reasons. And we also had evidence that suggested that this individual also interacted with our parked car at one point over the last month and a half. So all of these things were deeply, deeply disturbing to Asher. And the reason for his many, many, many posts after this event happened show the level of distress that he was in. In many of those posts, Asher expressed his disturbance at the caller being anonymous, and if someone saw the posts, to please tell him who they were. He wrote that it was important because eventually, if his fears were correct, the police would be knocking on his door and things would get even more precarious. And that's what happened today. Exactly like Asher said. Exactly like Asher always says. And yet, well, I'm going to play for you the call that was made on May 22nd to dispatch.
Dispatch, how can I help you?
Hi there. I don't know if I'm calling the right place. I'm actually calling from Canada. I just spoke to the local police here. They suggested I might want to give you a call. I'm being harassed by a mentally ill person in your area. I don't know where to file a police report or ask for a wellness check, quite honestly.
Okay. Normally we would leave it with the agency you live in. Since it's Canada, I'm not sure how easy they can contact us for help. Do you know the address the person lives at here in Fort Collins?
I do.
Okay. Okay, what is their address?
It's
Okay. And what's a phone number we can reach you at? Well, what is your name?
Leanna Kersner.
Okay. All right, give me 1 second, Leanna. I'm going to put you on a quick hold. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, ma'am, thanks for holding. And what's the person's
Hi.
name who's harassing you?
Well, there's two people at the residence, I think, I don't know, but Asher Hawley is the one I have a mental health concern about.
And how do you know Asher?
He used to be the domain host, my website.
I'm sorry, your phone is breaking up. What did he used to be?
Sorry. He used to be he has a hosting company for internet services, and I used to be a customer.
Okay, and what does he want?
He is, I don't know how to say it other than there's some delusional thinking going on here. He's blaming me for everything. He's saying I'm harming him through third parties. He's taken out multiple websites and this, accusing me of everything under the sun, a conspiracy to get him kicked off social media, but he's also been posting on Twitter about living in trash and being up for 24 hours straight.
Okay. So has he done anything specific? I know he's, saying bad things about you. Has he threatened you specifically to the point where you fear for your safety? Is he, going above and beyond to cause any sort of harm in your life? So we can always check on him, of course, if you want us to check on him. And then as far as harassment goes, I'm more than happy to have somebody call you and go over harassment charges. If it's just him saying things that are untrue, sometimes we don't have enough to charge him with anything.
Yes, yes.
But I can always have an officer call you to go over that if you'd like.
Spoke to for that help.
I'm sorry, your phone broke up on your last
I'm
statement.
sorry. I just spoke to the local police here in York Region. There is a police report that's being generated for that. Would that help?
A report for which part?
The fact that he's sending me messages saying it gets worse, I outlast everyone, and linking to a YouTube video that his husband made about me.
So if he's posting or doing anything that is intimidating or intentionally threatening you where you feel for your safety, it might fall under a statute for harassment, although those charges would probably only be able to be filed by your local police departments.
Yes, I called them first.
So if you already have that part being handled by your local police department, we probably wouldn't double up the efforts because we wouldn't be able to charge him because you have to get charged based on where the victim lives. So, but if you're needing something more specific from us, like to contact him to check on his welfare, we maybe be able could. Otherwise, it would be up to your local police department to contact us if they need us to do anything.
Is that appropriate? But will he get my name if there's a wellness check? Because part of the problem is he's been told to speak only to my lawyer, and he's not, but he's still a human being, and, up 24 hours seeming like he's manic, that's concerning.
We don't have to give any information if all we're doing is going out for a welfare check. If it was anything related to charges or something, you can't be anonymous.
Of course.
But if you're wanting us to check on him just because of his welfare, we can. But the officer will probably start by calling you first just to get some more information before they head over there. Okay.
He does have borderline personality disorder, which is my concern. So, yeah, maybe do that. I don't know. I've never done this before, I admit.
Gotcha. Yeah, so if you're wanting us to just do a welfare check, I can enter a call for that. Then the officer will start by calling you to go over things a little more, and then they can see about trying to contact Asher.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I'll have an officer start by calling you. That'll show us a block number, okay?
Thank you very much.
No problem. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Yes, that was Liana Kirsner you just heard there. Opening with, I'm being harassed by a mentally ill person in your area. You'll notice several things that she did there. She heavily leaned into Asher's borderline personality disorder. She also mentioned delusional thought disorder, manic, all of the markers that are used to stigmatize mentally ill individuals, while also completely rewriting the relationship that Asher and Liana had. Now, Liana is an ex-client with a grievance. She's not someone who used to be a friend for 5 years and who knew Asher personally, and with whom he spoke on almost the daily basis for a good amount of those 5 years. And you'll also notice that she was calling in with a harassment complaint. But when the officer told her that she could not remain anonymous with a harassment complaint, she quickly pivoted into a welfare check. You might ask, why is a welfare check concerning? Because it is part of harassment and it is part of tormenting a mentally ill individual. There's a reason why mentally ill individuals and also the queer and trans community hate welfare checks because they're often weaponized against them. You can ask any trans woman or any trans man who has had serious emotional disturbances as they do in our current environment. And you can ask them, how many times has someone weaponized a welfare check because they, quote, were feeling suicidal, for example? According to the perspective of a concerned troll. That is, a person who's not actually concerned, but who is intent on creating emotional disturbance and emotional torture in a person's life. Now, there is another call. That one actually is going to take a little while for us to get because the calls that are done by the officer are recorded by their equipment. So there is a separate request that we've put in for that, and that may take a little bit longer. However, all of the information on that is posted on the report, and you can see there all of the markers that appear in the police report, all of the mental illness stigma that this very concerned woman from Canada called about this local man who was posting worrying things on social media, such as that he'd stayed up for 24 hours and that he was, quote, living in trash because the apartment was messy. Liana Kirsner is very aware of the very precarious position that anyone who is undergoing a mental welfare check goes through, especially in the United States, with so many issues with police not being properly trained to deal with mentally ill individuals who may be in crisis. In fact, Liana and I spoke about issues like that several times in the past. Here are examples of this. And she even tweeted about it. And wouldn't you know it, right before making that call, a week and a half before, she skeeted this. Now, I want you to stress again that Liana Kirsner is aware of the existence of our local stalker, and we have repeatedly told her that we were not sending those messages. So, yet once again, not only did she read those messages twice on her radio show, ascribing them to us without being able to verify them, but she has now told the police, our local police, that we were sending those messages, that Asher was sending those messages. There is no conclusion you can come to except that Liana Kirsner is deliberately trying to endanger Asher because he is inconvenient. But that's not where it stopped, because you see today, May 31st, 2026, we got a knock on our doorstep. We thought it was FedEx because I was waiting for a package, and instead, we got this.
So you gotta know what's going on. If you're uncomfortable opening the door, this is just a welfare check. We just got a call saying that someone was concerned that you're feeling suicidal. Is that kind of the nature of things? I just wanted to chat about it. Do you mind opening the door and just chatting with us?
No, hang on. Okay, I'm ready to come out. I was getting dressed. Hang on.
Hey Asher, how's it going?
I'm okay.
You're doing okay?
Yes.
Okay, no worries. Is it just you that lives here?
No, I live with my husband.
Okay, no worries. Are you guys doing okay?
Yes, I want to I want to make another statement.
Okay, that's fine.
So I want to tell you what's happening because I think it's very important that I tell you what's happening.
Okay, I agree.
I think that a welfare check is very important. I think I appreciate it a lot. Can I ask who made it?
It was a woman in Canada.
Did she ask to be anonymous?
I don't know if she did or not, but it was just someone who noticed you were making some statements online, seemed like they were concerned for your welfare. And to be honest, we're kind of on the same wavelength because I know this is not the first welfare check you've had. We're not trying to become an inconvenience to you.
But tell you that.
Yeah, so our main thing is just to see like what kind of stuff is causing her to feel concerned, and we want to just check on you. And then we're kind of, the reason we didn't call you this time is we're looking to close the book on this so we don't become a burden on you, right? Because we've been here several, you've received phone calls, you've had us.
Yes, I'm going to tell you right now, if I get another welfare check from this woman, I'm filing for harassment. I want a protection order from her if I can get one. And I will say that you're harassing me. I'm just telling you, I'm laying it out.
I understand, and that was awesome.
Because if I get a third one, you're harassing me. I mean, sure. On behalf of this woman.
Yeah, and we don't want to be.
And I don't think you are now. I don't think you intend to.
I understand.
We're good.
Do you know her at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I did not explain this fully last time.
Sure.
But I think that it's important I explain it now. If you are willing to hear it.
Yeah, if we can hear all of it, then we can touch base with her and hopefully not have to bother you again, brother. So that's the goal.
Okay. Because I really don't like this.
I understand.
Okay. I mean, I appreciate the welfare check. It's great that people care. I mean, sure. That's great.
Sure. But we don't want to become, we're here to help. We're not here to be a burden on you. So I appreciate your understanding, and if we can just get the full scope of what's going on, that way we can touch base with both sides and hopefully put this behind you.
And this may take some time.
That's okay.
And it's not going to be forever, but it may take some time here.
That's okay. So what's going on?
I'm going to stop the video here because it is 18 minutes long, and unfortunately the camera did not record everything past those 18 minutes, but we have requested the body cam footage as well for evidence. However, first things first. The officer verified, of course, that it was indeed Liana who had called again because Asher was feeling suicidal. The only thing that you could see in his Twitter post today was him saying, $7, signing off. Liana Kirsner turned that into a threat of suicide. I want you to think about that. But I want to also commend and be thankful for the local police department. I know that there are many issues with police departments all over the nation, and things are very precarious for a lot of people. We were fortunate enough that in both of our interactions, we had officers who went above and beyond, who listened, and who did not use any prejudice against us, but listened to the facts and were exemplary in their behavior. The officers, on both times, incidentally, when they spoke to Asher, told him that he could post whatever the fuck he wanted on social media and that it seemed that someone was trying to infringe upon his freedom of speech. That he could post anything on social media as long as it wasn't a threat. And we have never posted any threats on social media. The officer also said that henceforth, calls of this type would not be sent forth because at this point it was becoming apparent that it was a pattern of harassment. The police identified a pattern of harassment. Now, I want you to take a look at Asher's wall on Twitter, and you'll see a lot of posting because, my God, he writes a lot. But he's incredibly verbose. He's enormously eloquent. That's part of his charm. And, Twitter is kind of a hellhole because you can't write at length. Twitter has corrupted our brains for long-form writing. But you're not going to find anything there that's actually actionable or of concern. So this is clearly Liana Kirsner trying to endanger my husband because I have shown she knows that calling the police on a mentally ill individual can be very dangerous. In fact, like I said, the Innocence Project showed in my last episode how often mentally ill individuals are in danger when dealing with the police. Liana Kirsner didn't think we were going to get these recordings. As you remember, the reason she did not actually file a harassment suit was because she wanted to be anonymous. Harassment. Look at what Asher posts. And then look at Liana's wall on Blue Sky, constantly baiting Asher and referring to Asher, calling him a misogynist, calling him a transphobe, making fun of him for days on end. Do you really, really get in the face of people you're afraid of people who are harassing you? Or is it something more like this?
When you're doing that, I'm being attacked, the industry is against us, I'm being harassed, that is a form of arrogance. It is. It is. You're calling attention to yourself in your victimhood, and anybody who does it, I can't stand that. I don't care if it's women, I don't care if it's men. I will say, like, yeah, guys, this is bullshit, what you're doing, but this whole, oh, I'm afraid of what? Shitty comments on the internet? You're gonna have to do better than that. Please don't. It's a waste of everyone's time.
I'm going to tell you what I think is happening. Liana Kirshner is afraid, yes, but not of us. She's afraid of all of the evidence that we're bringing to light. Evidence of her abuses. For 15 years, people have been telling you that Liana Kirshner is an abusive person, but there's been no evidence because she shuts people up in Canada. Well, we've provided you information that shows she's abusive. On the website, I have shown you how she abused and gaslit Roberta Vaughn and tried to shut her and her brother up, and then almost tried to sue Lori and Corey Cole when Roberta's brother kept talking about the abuse Roberta had suffered at Liana's hands. I've shown you how she's lied about Gail Simone. I've shown you what she did to Song. I've shown you what she's done to her clients who displeased her. For 15 years, people have been telling you that Liana Kirshner and Stephen Joel Kirshner take a very, very cavalier approach to the funds that are raised on their crowd funds, and that they never, ever hold themselves accountable. Well, Captain Underpants on Head, Stephen Joel Kirshner, verified that what I've been saying all along about the Kickstarter money was true. People haven't posted evidence like that before because, again, Liana Kirshner uses Mark Burry to shut people up in Canada because of their awful defamation laws. For 15 years, as I've been able to find on the internet, there are reports after reports after reports of Liana Kirshner weaponizing police to shut people up when those legal avenues and Mark Burry fail her. Today, I have proven that. In fact, Emily Schooley has claimed for years that she was arrested en route to making a domestic violence complaint against one of Liana Kirshner's closest friends. That she was arrested unjustly. You know something? I still don't like Emily Schooley, but I believe her now. And why do I say that? Well, let's look at this video, where Liana Kirshner admits to having friends in law enforcement.
What the process is. And dealing with the cops is never fun because I get it. I have friends in law enforcement. I understand why things are the way they are. They see a lot of awful stuff. They see humanity at their worst. And so there's this edge to police that, you know, isn't fun for the rest of us to deal with, but, you know, got the information, all good.
Okay, well, that doesn't prove anything, right? Well, let's move a little bit further down the timeline. Because in this video, Liana Kirshner says the following.
People, gossipers, not my people. Because of what I do, you know? If someone worked in law enforcement, it's amazing how many gossips work in law enforcement, but, you know, I have friends in law enforcement, and the reason they trust me is I don't go telling people about shit they told me because I could get in a lot of trouble. But people in those jobs do need someone to confide in. They need community.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen and non-binary friends, Liana Kirshner has admitted that she has friends in law enforcement that tell her things that she should not know. I emphasize, they tell her things that she should not know. Otherwise, why would they get in trouble? So, Let's assume, as these relationships often go, that this kind of reciprocity goes both ways. Emily Schooley has said in the past that Liana Kirchner has weaponized police to go after people that she's in trouble with. How deep does the corruption go? How many police officers who are friends of the Kirchners have done favors for them, silenced people that were inconvenient to them? That's just speculation based on this evidence, but it is incredibly suggestive, isn't it? Especially now that Liana Kirchner has made false accusations, which are abuse by her own metrics.
To a false accusation, which is its own form of abuse. Remember that. It's a form of abuse.
Against Asher. Doesn't that seem like someone who is accustomed to wielding the police and the threat of institutional force as her own personal bludgeon? And this is a mental health advocate, allegedly, who just called the local police and primed them to expect an unhinged and unstable individual. As you see over here, remember? They're trained to fear, not to de-escalate. What was Kirchner expecting would happen? Do you remember? You probably don't, but there is an account that goes under different names. This account claimed in the past that Liana Kirchner got her fired from her job by calling and harassing her at work. This account has also claimed that at one point, Liana Kirchner almost got her to unalive herself. 3 years ago, when this account tried to tell me all of these things, I brushed it off. I considered it completely unbelievable. It wasn't the Liana I knew. Guess what, though? The Liana I knew doesn't exist. And now? I can't say that those allegations are true, but they sure sound very believable, don't they? I will remind you that this woman has a radio show where she pretends to be a mental health advocate. All the while, she uses markers to tag people that she has beefs against and uses them as example of bad crazy. Because she has good crazy and bad crazy. What the fuck is good crazy? What the fuck is good dysfunction? Because that's what crazy is. It's not, oh, I'm so quirky. It is living with dysfunction. So Liana Kirchner has a breed of crazy people that are good. Usually the people that agree with her. And if you're not good crazy, well, I guess you get the police called on you.
I'm being harassed by a mentally ill person in your area.
So now I'm going to ask you something. Because at this point, you cannot deny the truth of these events. You cannot deny what they implicate. This woman has a radio show, and that radio show should not exist. She uses her media platforms to bully people and cause them emotional torture, benefiting from her large audience and the public facade that she puts on, that she has been able to maintain thanks to Canada's awful defamation laws. But this ain't Canada. I want you to spread this around. Show this to as many people as possible. This cannot remain hidden. Because this is the kind of thing that Kirchner doesn't want to reach the light. It's the kind of thing that she wields her lawyers to silence. This is the kind of thing that she reports people on social media for to silence and calls them doxing. Because to her, exposing her abuses is doxing. That's what privacy means to Liana Kirchner. In fact, she shows it right here, where she essentially claims that the people she accuses of crimes should not be able to get a copy of their accusations. I don't know how things work in Canada on that front, but here in the United States, every person has the right to know what they're being accused of and by whom. And it's very telling that Liana Kirchner doesn't like that. She wants to reserve the right to accuse everyone of everything, but not have anyone know that she's doing it at all, like how she does in her server, where all those people are complicit. What Liana Kirchner has done is actual endangerment of an at-risk individual. And I have already shown you the moderators in her server conspiring among each other to try to use the force of law against Asher for expressing his thoughts and his protected freedom of speech. I cannot, in good faith at all, pretend that what happened today and on the 22nd is not a natural progression of that. And so, Liana Kirshner is liable. But also Bobby Calloway, Eileen, and Pure Bjorgensen, especially if they knew about this, and damages will be sought. You think we're not going to find out? At this point? You think you can hide this from Asher? So I want you to spread this everywhere. Every social media you can. Tap into your networks. Show them, especially mental health professionals. And also, if you don't think this woman should have a show where she pretends to be a mental health advocate while doing this to people, write to Saga FM at this email. And I can guarantee you this. I have spoken to many Canadians who are afraid of speaking up, who are afraid of the Kirshners and their litigiousness, and the fact that the law favors the plaintiff in defamation cases, so that the victim has to pay through the nose to be heard. And that's not right. And reform needs to happen there. But one thing at a time. Go forth and show this. I need you to do this. Asher needs you to do this. We have never sought social media relevance, and we have never chased the algorithm. And you can tell. So now we depend on you. If you care about mentally ill individuals, if you care about the disabled, if you care about queer and trans individuals who don't fit in, who don't fit acceptability politics that Liana Kirshner wields like a sword, share this. Let people know. And if you're on Blue Sky, post this regularly because there's no algorithm in Blue Sky. So you need to reskeet and repost for things to be visible to your followers at any point in a day. And use the following hashtags. Hashtag what is good dysfunction. Hashtag Lianagate. Hashtag it's not therapy. I have known of many people that the Kirshners have crushed, like the bullies that they are. If you have the ability to speak up or to just make this public, I think it is your obligation to them, to Roberta Vaughan, to Song Erickson, even to Emily Schooley, whatever our disagreements, and to Asher, and all of the other people you may not have heard of because they are too afraid to speak up.